just want to come on real with a, like, I don't know, trigger warning, but a channel message, because I'm noticing this is coming through. And this last one, the Spirit told me when I did that last reading for me to come back and to address this. A lot of us right now, and we seeing our people, and we see any of them kind of going back, our divine counterparts, and going more deeper, diving into the karmic situation or thing, is a lot of them are dealing with their distorted feminine energies. In this last reading I had did, it was more so talking about how he was seeing everyone. The lady that he was dealing with was also had the same blueprint or a frequency that he was used to that resonated with his mother, which in turn was the same frequency and blueprint that in which that the person who is divine, or the one that you call maybe so-called awakened, that was asking for the reading, had issues with the divine, with their father. It was mirroring, and it was the opposite. We have to understand that, like, when we're talking about this distorted feminine energies, that some of this stuff that it came out in that reading is very ancestral. It's all the way back 17, 18, whatever, generations back. And we have to allow them to unpack that. Like I told her in the reading, that a lot of them, they can't come to us like that until they heal that distortion, because they are not going to be able to hear us or to speak that love language or to do that love action. Because I noticed that in me, in this new, where I'm at, the workplace that I am, at this school, I have an incident with a student that was one in which we had conflict. Everything I said, she would turn around. And I just couldn't understand it for the life of me. And I'm like, I'm speaking. The kids would be like, yeah, you speaking. And everything that I would say, she would be like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, what? And I couldn't understand. You're not teaching that right. I mean, it was just a whole bunch of this buck. To the point that, again, the issue was she was, again, doing some unsavory things and saying some statements to myself, to the kids, and it was just a real interesting experience that I had not, out of the whole 20 some years that I've been teaching, have ever experienced this blatant defiance, and I could not reach them. Most of the time they send me the difficult kids, and I can reach them no matter how crazy they are, or they've been certifiably been in the crazy house, and they come to me like, I like you, Miss, but I like how you talk. You talk to me, I understand you. And I could not get to this one, reach her at all. One day my mom had seen that. It took two people, and that's interesting, the Piscean energies, which they could always see beyond that. It took her and me having a conversation with David of Soul Mission for me to really understand what was going on that I could not see. My mom, I showed her a picture of the young lady, and she seen this. Oh my God, she's got so much darkness. And I was like, oh wow. And she's like, no, she got to heal that. She's got to heal that. And again, when I talked to David, he was like, yeah, I see that too as well, but it's also generational, because her family came up there and they was ready to whoop my ass too. And that went all the way back, and it's like they weren't hearing. The principal was like, okay, you're not understanding what we're saying, and what she said wasn't what you saying, so now I'm looking at you crazy, because it's like you ain't even understanding us either. So the distortion there was really almost just really, again, like I said, generational. It went all the way back there. Again, no one was able to hear the light language. And again, when you have those like that, there aren't really, because I've understood, and I remember I watched the video that said that a lot of times that when a person is such in a dark place, like a soul rather, and that was from James Van Prague, he was talking to a lady, she said that when his soul is so in a dark place, they can't receive the light. The light is hurting. You know, you say, oh, it's the healing light. It's the white light. The white light is shining and it's healing. But, you know, for some, again, we could debate on it and say it's not. For some of them, that does not heal them. That it goes a little too much. It's too powerful. They say it does heal them, but it's too powerful for them to the point that, again, it would destroy them. And so they got to be able to take it in little bits. As far as that, like you chip away with the light, just a little bit at a time, but not so at once. With me being the way I am as a light worker, just me being showing up, period, will cause one, and I just like rather I turn it on to turn it off again, and her where she's at. And a lot of times when we come on this planet Earth, and we're here to learn, and we're here to heal, and we're here to, again, it's like, again, a rehabilitation about the things that we have learned previously and get ourselves together in alignment. That, again, some of us have signed on to say, I'm going to come in like that. You know, some of us say I stay like this, or some of them say I'm coming here to transform, because I need either to stay in that darkness because other people's got to learn from that, or either I've got to learn and change, or either the people outside from me being dark have got to change and I stay the same. So it doesn't matter about which way, again, who's that. But again, we weren't going to be able to connect that way, and because of that darkness, she was not able to. Everything I would say, even if it would be a compliment, it would be like, okay, you don't want to see me succeed, okay? Or anything I would do in her favor of that, you know, oh, you call me ugly. No, that's not what it said. You know, so those things, they're not able to. And you don't want your divine counterpart or your divine lover or whomever that you call them to come to you like that when it's such great distortion, and they really are building upon the past and bringing it into the now, and they're using it as an overlay and a template to put you in, and you're like, wait a second, that ain't my mama. I don't fit into this. Why, when I say something of love to you, you can't hear nothing surpass that? And I can see that also even with my parents, of that, you know, he's been in bad marriages and bad relationships, that even when my mom came along and she's like, I'm showing you true love, I don't have no hidden motives or agendas like the people that had came before me, and you're still trying to throw me into that mold, until he didn't get the understanding of it, until he crossed over, and we had conversations afterward, like, nah, I get it, it's too late, you know, and now I gotta, if he wants to come back and reincarnate to make it right, because it's like I didn't get the lesson like I was supposed to, you know. And so that is, again, where we are, is that we cannot, separation is good, okay? I've come to that point now. I have my moments, yes I do, but at the end of the day, I think I'm more 80% to saying separation is good. I need to work on myself, because sometimes I'm ugly, like Avery Sunshine said, it's just the ugly part of me. So sometimes I got the ugly part of me, and he don't need to be around there when I'm being like that, and then vice versa. He don't need to be around me when I'm like that. Okay, you ain't got to say amen to that, Ralphie. I heard that. Like, he's like, yeah, you know. But my thing is that we have to be grateful for that. Say, go work that out. So again, when we seen, I got a lot of people saying, I haven't heard from, or they going more deeper into that karma situation, or, you know, they didn't went and did to the next level about this stuff. What does that mean? You know, at that point when that happens, you know, again, breathe, woosah, and say, okay, if you are really truly grounded in knowing that this is your person, you know that, hey, whatever that you're doing, I'm going to put the intentions is this, is that you're going more deeper into that, because it's, again, it's going to bring you more closer. It's just like, again, like April learned me, when you have somebody taking a arrow, you notice that they draw it back to propel forward movement. Sometimes you got to kind of step back, go back into that situation a little bit more deeper, so you can get more forward trajectory in what's going on. And so this is where it is. So again, let's not fall for the okie doke or the illusion. I see a lot of people kind of nervous on that, and they say, he doing this. I'm hearing a lot of people phone, and I called and they didn't call me back. You know what this mean? We was talking this, that, yin, yang, and other. You know, again, steady yourself. I have learned that on this journey. Steady yourself. When you steady yourself, then again helps for them to kind of come back a little bit more faster back into the fold. You don't have the months spread or those weeks spread to say, okay, you know what, it's something that you've got to learn. And then you'll bring and you turn on that light to bring them back home, like the Motel 6 in the lighthouse. You know, you truly move into that lighthouse energies where you bring them right on back as well. That's what I've learned with that. Do I wave it? Yeah. Sometimes I get a little shaky, a little quaky, baby. Yeah, I have done that. But again, this distorted feminine energies, they got to heal from, and you do too as well. So it's like, where is again that for us that are waiting and they're out there dealing with the outside energies, which is again distortion and dealing with the people, and they got to deal with that childhood wounds, because some of them got to deal with childhood wounds that's bringing up that abandonment, that rejection, that exploitation, that judgment, those things. Don't forget, I have all that stuff if you want to look and see about how that shows up in your person. Go into my playlist and I have all that by healing the inner child. You can see how you watch that. You're like, oh, okay, but then here's the caveat. As you're listening, you're going to find yourself start looking and saying, oh, it's about 3 fingers pointed back at me. Some of that stuff, I'm in there too. So, you know, make sure that you are looking at that. But for us, thank you for putting a pin. Divine feminine energies, what we got to deal with is the controlling, the distortion shows up in us, is the controlling insides in our soul, in our spirit, that we've got to, again, inwardly, spirit is pure, that we got to move into that again, that we feel like we want to control inwardly work. That's the inward work that we got to do to change the energy that's happening within us, that we want to control. Maybe I'll call and reach out to her. Oh, I was just thinking about you today. How you doing? You know, it's like, okay, no. If he's over there cocooning, getting ready to prepare to transform, you know, just like what a butterfly is, you leave them alone. You don't keep on messing with the cocoon and say, oh, I see it kind of pushing. Maybe I'll cut this out and help them come on out. Unless you have been instructed. Now, Spirit has told you, I need you to go check in with them. Sometimes they need that motivation, like, I'm here, how you doing, what's going on. But we don't still sit there, hold a hand, pump the blood through the wings so they can be able to, you know, like they say, you just leave it alone and let them do it, because sometimes they're not ready. We don't pull them out of the cocoon before it's time. They say, be no wine before it's time. We don't want to do that. But that is what we are dealing with. We're dealing with the controlling on the inside that we have, where we want to control the situation on the outside. In our divine feminine energies and the divine masculine energies, want to control the narrative on the outside, make the person do X, Y, and Z, so that it can be able to help them feel like they got control on the inside. And like I said, some of that stuff has got to be housed, going back to the abandonment, the fear factor that I said, that's still playing a part of the ego, that again, like, you know, they're not going to abandon me, you know, and some of the readings and things that I had gotten, and got to the point that the person is daggone cheating on you, and you're still holding on to the person as if, you know, like, this is God's great earth, but you know at the same time your spirit's talking about, I don't want that. I was about to say, let that hoe go. Let it go. You know, we can't be saved, Captain Saver hoe for everybody. That one right there ain't worth no saving. Captain Saver hoe, let it go. She's not worth saving. You need to save yourself, you know. And that goes back to, again, like Captain D and I both said, put the mask on yourself. Make sure you have oxygen before you go in, like when you're on the airplane to go save somebody else. Make sure your stuff is right. My mom always say, you know, don't be up there in meddling in anybody else's business. Make sure your stuff is right. That's so you divine feminine. Don't go over there meddling over there with the divine masculine energy. Is about what you or your counterpart is doing. Make sure your stuff is right. Because while you over there meddling with theirs, your stuff's starting to fall apart. So that's why I said, in separation, let it go. Separation is good. When the more you embrace that, the less of it, again, that it has a power over you. You can start focusing in on the things that you need to be doing. Make sure you're doing that mission work. Rather, your mission work is getting yourself together. Mission work is rather getting with your person. Mission work is, again, doing something out there in the world. You know, you got other things out there that you could be focusing in on. Going to watch my videos on healing the inner child. Go and get a past life regression session as well to see about what some of the past things that you see that you got to unearth. You know, you got a lot of stuff to do. You know, listen to my podcast, listen to my old whatever things, videos. But you in life, you have a lot of things. It's the summertime. Go out there. And like I say, summertime shy is nothing like summertime in the shy. It's always some kind of events free that you can go to and partake of, even in your city as well. It's go ahead and do some things. Pamper yourself like I did the other day. Got my nails done, my feet done, and just really had just a good time of showing love to myself. That's what you need to be doing. Don't worry about, I know it's say, well, don't worry, be happy. I know it is. Set the intention, send love and light, saying, God, I'm going to place them in your hands. At the end of it, my intentions of me doing that and what I want to see the end goal is that you bringing them closer to me, that we moving more closer to 3D union or whatever it is that we want for you to bring that closer to you, to, I see him go out, to bring them closer to me. This is it. It's easy said than done, I know, but we've got to get ourselves in the habit of surrendering, going with the flow, and just releasing. Okay? All right then. So thank you again. If you're interested in getting a past life regression session, remember 2 hours is $125. I usually charge $250 for 3 hours, so that is a sale for you. You benefited from that. Make sure you go to AshantiWellnessCenter.com to go do that. Make sure if you want to have any readings, while I look into it, and some people are, so it gets you an understanding. My readings now help you to understand what's going on with your person, where you are, and then get advice from guides as far as what you need to work on, and either to keep on this path to create union with yourself, the world, and your person. And then go to DivineUnisouls11.co. That's at AshantiWellnessCenter.com. That's them. And DivineUnisouls11.co is for readings as well. Make sure you catch up on your podcast too as well. Divinely Speaking Unplugged. You can go to any of your podcast favorite streaming outlets that you have. I'm on there, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadios are my 3 top favorites too. I see this I was on Amazon as well, and Google and Samsung, I guess, got podcasts too as well. So I'm on there as well. I can be found there too. And let me see, is there anything else? No, as always, thank you. Make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe to this channel. As always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascending. Namaste and Namago. Love you, and I'll be talking to you real soon. As within, so without. All right then. See ya. Ashe, ashe.